Mi nombre es Adrián Bravo, yo soy director comercial para Google México y a mí me toca presentar a Gopi. Gopi es ahorita una de las personas más famosas en Google. Él es el responsable por el lado de marketing de Google+. Él lleva mucho tiempo en Google, ha estado en cerca de 52 países trabajando principalmente como marketing en AdWords y en AdSense, y ahorita tiene pues la gran responsabilidad de llevar a Google+ a una posición interesante dentro del mercado. Entonces yo creo que para todos va a ser interesante. Este es nuestro proyecto de redes sociales y se vale preguntarle de todo. Al final estamos contemplando un par de minutos para hacer un par de preguntas interesantes con Gopi. So Gopi, it's a pleasure to have you here, and I'll let you know with this guy. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Adrian. Hello, everybody. Hola. Gracias. Thank you for coming. Big turnout. This is fantastic. So before talking about Google+, I want to tell you a small story. In the month of May, I was in Ghana in West Africa. Can you just pull up the map of Ghana? Yeah. I was right here for a whole month, along with 12 other people from Google. And we were doing a set of corporate social responsibility projects for a whole month. One day, I was in a very remote part of Ghana, in a small village town called Okan 4. And I wasn't even sure where I was. And I asked the driver of the car where exactly we were, and he was from Accra, the capital city, down on the coast here, so he wasn't sure either. So I pulled out my Google Android Nexus S phone, and using Google Latitude, I was amazed that using GPS technology, I was able to pinpoint exactly where I was. This phone told me, and the Ghanaian driver, that we were in the Terra Samas Road on the way to Okan 4. When we got to Okan 4, we were in a school where some of the Googlers were working on the project. And during the recess time, all of the school kids surrounded me. They were playing with me. And there was this beautiful moment when all these kids were having fun, posing with me for pictures. So at one point, I gave this phone to a colleague of mine and said, take a picture so that I can share it with my friends and family. And this is the picture that he took. Okay? Can you go full screen mode? Right. So adorable picture, right? With all of these Ghanaian kids surrounding me. You may want to just pause the previous one. Okay. Not my yoga pictures. So that was me teaching yoga back in the Google campus, but that's a whole nother story. So here I am with these Ghanaian kids, and I thought this is a beautiful picture. It's a slice of my life that I want to share with my Google colleagues back in Mountain View and in the Mexico office and the Tokyo office. So we were testing Google+ at that time internally. So I took the phone again, grabbed this picture, and in an instant I was able to share it with my team so they could see what the manager was doing back in Africa. And within seconds, people around the world in Google started responding to me with their comments. And I thought, this is such a magic moment. Because first of all, I thought of all the technologies that were working together seamlessly for this to happen. There was the Android hardware, the Android software, the Android camera, Google Maps, Google Latitude, Google+, the entire data centers that Google engineers had built, the security layers through which all of this was passing. And I also realized at that moment the power that we were putting in the hands of people through Google+ and all these technologies. Meaning I was standing in the middle of a remote place in West Africa. There was no internet infrastructure anywhere around me. All I needed was this little device in my pocket, and I was able to capture a slice of my life and instantly share it with people around the world. And the fact that we were putting this power in the hands of people was something so fantastic that I came back to Google and actually made a small career change. Up till that point, for 5 years, I had worked on Google AdWords, which I know many of you use, and that was my product. But I was so blown away by the power of what we were building that I switched over as soon as I got back to Google+. So for the rest of the session, I'm going to share with you why I'm so passionate about this particular product. But before I go into that, I want to start with a little bit of history around Google. So 13 years ago, when Larry Page and Sergey Brin started the company, this was the one product that we had built, the little white magic box that now the whole world is familiar with. And they had a simple operating principle, and that was focus on the user and all else will follow. So when they focused on the user, the answer that came back 13 years ago was to build a product that looked like this. And they wrote down this audacious mission at the time, which was to organize all of the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And why was it significant at that time? Because 13 years ago, as the internet was just exploding, there was all of this information that was coming up on the internet that people were putting on the web. And the most important application that everyone wanted was to get to the best information very quickly. So at that time, this was the product that they built, and it still continues to be an amazing tool 13 years later, with 1 billion people using it every day in over 120 languages in over 200 countries and territories around the world. So they met that audacious goal. Now when we look at the internet, there's two new behaviors that are interesting to us. The first is, you're no longer looking at information that somebody else published. In addition to that, all of you have become publishers of information. When you take a photograph and upload it, you are a publisher of information. When you upload a video to YouTube, you have become a publisher of information. When you comment on someone's blog, you are publishing your own information. When you tweet, you have become a publisher of your own information. So we are all consumers of information that somebody else created. We are also creating information in our own lives. The second big change that you can see across the internet is that we want to share it with the people we know. When we come back from a vacation, we take all these pictures on the camera. Immediately we want to share it with friends and family. You read an interesting article in the newspaper, you want to share it with people who may care about the topic. So this sharing concept has become one of the pivotal needs of users everywhere. So we asked ourselves the question, how can we take into account this need that our users have to be aware of the social graph, their friends, family, their contacts, and share information with them? So we went and talked to a lot of people, and based on that, we launched the Google Plus project. So before I go into the demo and show you, a couple of things that I want you to take notice. We call it a project because we are just getting started. In fact, right now, it is still only available on an invitation basis only, and it's primarily launched in the US market, although you can access it in Spanish from here as well. So it is still a project, we are just getting started, and we're listening to a lot of your feedback. Thank you for sending it in, because we want to constantly enhance this project for you. The second, you may wonder, why did we call it Google Plus? Over the years, you've been using a variety of Google products, Google Search, YouTube, Gmail, Blogger, Picasa, etc. And thank you for all of your support with those products. We call it Google Plus because going forward, we want to make your Google experience Google plus you, as in Google plus Anna, down in the front row, Google plus Banya, meaning once we know Banya's identity, her interests, her social network, we want to make her Google experience that much more better. We want to make Anna's internet experience that much more better, taking into account her interests and social graph. And that's why it's called Google Plus. So always think of it as Google plus you, making Google so much more better for you. So we went and had a conversation with a lot of people, regular people like you and me, and said, how do you socially connect with people you know? How do you share information? How do you like to do it? And we distill all of that into a small video that I want to share with you. So Jack will show a video of some of the conversations that we recorded, of just ordinary people talking about their lives.
Changed that much in thousands of years, and I think that they're still fundamentally driven by the same internal needs, the same desires, and the same kind of hopes. Sometimes it's not relevant to talk about certain things with certain people, especially my guy friends, you know, that I don't fill them in on every aspect of my life, whereas I might with my girlfriends or my mom or whatever.
You know, like in your head you assign everyone these roles, and like you think, you know, like these are the people that matter and these don't, and then like once you like step back and get away from that, you realize, oh, these are the people that were actually there for me.
Yeah, I definitely think that when you're a child, when you're younger, it's just more about showing up and being at a place and then seeing what happens. Like the idea of like, in school you just have recess, and that's just a period of time for whatever you want to do, you can do.
There's nothing like a night that was not planned the way it was supposed to be planned. You feel like you are connected to a group of people. You feel like you're part of something.
I know that there are people who are just driven by kind of internal confidence that lets them see their path from here to there. I've never been that guy. I've always been part of a community, and I rely so heavily on the personal connections between me and the people who are close to me. It's fuel.
So that was a quick summary of all these people we talked to, speaking from their heart about how they connect with people in their life. But if you distill it down, you can reduce it to just 4 words, and that's what we concluded. People care about these 4 words. First one is who, meaning who you share information with. The second is what, meaning what information that you shared with these people. The third is how. How do you connect and share information? And the fourth is where, meaning what is the context, or what is the situation, or where are you when you're sharing that information. So we looked at these 4 words and said, how are people doing it in their real life when they interact with other friends and family, versus how are you forced to do it on the internet today. And we felt that what you have to do on the internet on those 4 dimensions is not really the best way. It's not optimum, and we felt we could do something better for you. So we've gone and built something in Google+, looking at all those 4 things that we believe is making your life so much more better on those 4 dimensions. And as I demonstrated for you with Jack, if you like it, if you feel that we have done a good job, I want you to communicate back to me by applauding, okay? All right? Good. So let's take the first question. Who you share with is extremely important for all of us. So how does it work in our day-to-day life? So if I look at Guillermo and ask him, how many people do you know? He might say, I know 100. And if I ask Anna here, she might say, I know 1,000 people. If I ask Bania, she might say, I know 2,000 people. But we don't treat all 2,000 people the same. Some are families, some are colleagues, some are very close friends, some are people you went to high school with. And the information you share with each of these groups tends to be different. But how do you do it on the internet today when you go to a social network? Everybody is considered a friend. And when you put some information on any of the social tools available, you have to share it with every single person. But my mom is not my friend, she's my mom. And there's some things that I tell her that I may not share with my friends, right? So the average number of people in a social network on the internet today is 120. That's about half the size of this room. So if you knew this, all the people in this room, and if I asked you to come here, stand up, and share some aspect of your personal life, would you do it? No. Why? It's stage fright, plus you feel it's not appropriate for every single person. So we wanted to make that change and said, how can we make this easy for people? So I'm going to use Jack as an example. Let's go to circles. So we introduced a concept called circles within Google+. So these are many of the people that Jack knows. And what he can do is put them in different circles. So Jack has got a circle called family. He's got another circle called football fans because he's into football. Another one called nerd friends because some of his friends are nerds. And so he's putting people in these clusters, right? See how it happens. It's very easy to add people. So let's use football as a concept. Jack's got 12 friends with whom he passionately shares his interest around football. He can grab a bunch of the people and add them to his football circle. So Jack, do that for me. So those 4 friends, and just like that, he's added them to that circle. He can also take people out of the circle and right, that he tossed somebody out of the circle, just like you do in real life. You add people to a circle of friends, you may take them out. Sometimes your life context has changed. An entire group of friends that you used to hang out with are no longer relevant in your life. Does that happen? You just want to get them out of your life. I am so over them. So Jack thinks now that he's into football and music, he's cool. He's no longer a nerd. So he doesn't want to hang out with amigo nerds. So he wants to get them out of his life. So Jack, go ahead and delete them. So he says, I don't want to know this circle. And watch what happens. Boom. Off they roll out of his life. You like that? How do you communicate back to me? Great, thank you. So we made the whole interface fast, fluid, and really fun. So he can add people, delete people, and put people in circles. So now that he's put people in circles, he can share information with people he cares about. So let's say he's going to a football game, and there's a game assumed this weekend coming up with, who's playing, Jack? Chivas, yes, okay, so let's go to the Chivas game. And he wants to share this information, but only with his football fan friends, because the rest of them don't care about it. So he types it, and this is called a stream, where information from Jack's friends comes to him, as well as he can communicate back. So he types in things there and says, I want to send it only to my football fans. He adds that, and he shares it with them, and now that information has been sent, but only with his football group, okay? So this makes it extremely easy in deciding who you want to share with and the information that you want to share with, instead of spamming your entire network. Does that work for you? Does that make things better? Yes? Great. So this is how we are addressing that first question, who you share with, and giving you the choice, giving you the control. The second question then, or the second word that you care about, is what information you share with. Now here's the problem we saw in social networks today. If you look at all of the things that are coming towards you, at least in my case, I feel that 9 out of 10 I don't need to know. It is completely useless stuff. It is just distracting. It is wasting my time. But I have no choice, because all of these people are supposedly in my network. They write and post all kinds of information, and it just keeps coming towards me. So we asked ourselves, how do we elevate the level of discussion in a social network? And that is usually driven by good content. Good content leads to good conversation. So how does it work in real life? You see a good article, maybe a newspaper editorial, and you take it to the office and share it with colleagues, and all of a sudden you have a good discussion about what's going on in the world. Or you might see an interesting video or a movie clip. You share it with some friends, and then you have a good discussion about what you just watched. So good content seeds good conversations, good dialogue. And that is one thing Google knows really well about, how to surface good content to you based on what you're interested in and based on what you deeply care about. So to help you with that in the social context, we introduced another concept called Sparks. Right here, if you click on Sparks on the interface, it takes you to a set of topics. And the idea is, we call it Sparks because we wanted to spark good conversation in your social network. So there are all of these pre-populated topics that people usually may care about, like fashion and movies and recipes. But in this case, Jack and I are interested in Chivas. So you type in Chivas Guadalajara, and now it gives a set of content, latest news, videos, breaking news, etc., about that topic you're interested in, but optimized for Jack based on his interest, based on where he's located, so he gets the most important. So there's an interesting videos about Chivas, and let's say he says, I want to share this, but I only want to share it with my football fans. So right here, he can go pick that item and say share, and it gives him which circle do you want to share with. He can pick the football fan circle, and he hits share right from the stream of news that was given to him on the topic that he cared about. And now if you go back to your stream on Google+, that information is there that he's just shared, okay? So now his friends interested in football can have a discussion around this particular video. So good content leading to good conversations is the intent behind this feature, Sparks. You like it? Great. So that is the second pillar, who you share with, what you share. The third dimension we looked at was how you share information. So let me ask the audience question. Anybody shout out, how do you share information in real life? How do human beings communicate and share? What is the most popular method? What is that? Face-to-face, right? You know, you go meet people in a cafe, or you gather around a family dinner table and sit, and that way you can look at each other and smile and whisper and touch and give a hug. That's how human beings connect. And it's not just here in Mexico, but everywhere in the world. And I've traveled to about 52 countries now. People may differ, food may differ, culture may differ, but one thing that is common is human beings like to connect face-to-face. In Ireland, they may do it in a pub. In Italy, they may prefer to do it in a plaza. And in Indonesia, they may do it in a park or a cafe. but people like to meet. Except there's one problem in today's society. We have sort of become very scattered geographically. We live in different countries, different cities. Even if you're in the same city, if you're in Mexico City, it is so big that it's hard to come face to face because of travel. So we've tried to use electronic means to communicate with each other. But there are two problems with electronic means. The first is it's highly interrupt driven. Now I could pick up this phone and call my colleague Anna Paulos, but I don't know if she's in the midst of something. I might be disturbing her. Or even when you go into a chat window and try to talk to somebody, it may show green, they're available. But when you ping them, you realize that they are trying to busy finish up a project and you just got in the middle of that. So it is highly distracting because it's interrupt driven. And the second problem is all of the technologies available today we felt is very complex for the ordinary user. Something like video conferencing should be easy to use, but how many of you in your personal life actually use video conferencing to talk to, say, 6 of your friends? Have you ever tried it? I don't see a single hand go up. Isn't it one person, right? Two people. And the problem is the complexity of the technology. I tried it once, and here's what happened. I wanted to get my brother and sisters and my family in a multi-person video conference. So I was on the phone with my parents, and I was trying to tell my dad, Dad, make sure you download the software, take the binary and put it in this directory, turn off the Windows 7 permission, and then the antivirus software should not be working because that'll interfere with the video decode. By the time I was done with it, my mother said, son, get on a plane, travel 16 hours, come and see us. I will pay you for your ticket. It is too complex. They said, we're not going to do this. So we asked ourselves, how can we make it like how it works in real life? How does it work in real life? If I was going home late at night and I walked past Jack's house and the light is kind of barely on, it's 10 o'clock at night, am I likely to go knock on the door and say, hey Jack, I thought I'd check out on you? No, I won't do it because he might be busy, he might be sleeping. But suppose I'm walking in the middle of the day, it's afternoon, Jack is standing in the garden sipping a cup of coffee. Then I will stop and say, hey Jack, how are you? Just wanted to catch up, right? That's human behavior. Now if Jack is standing there talking to Anna Paulos, then it seems rude to walk by without saying hi because they're both friends of mine. And if Jack, Anna Paulos, and Bonnie are talking, our research shows that all of us want to join the conversation because we believe they're talking about us. Right? They're talking about me, so I want to jump in on the conversation. So we recreated this whole behavior. If I know Jack is available and Jack is in a conversation with Anna Paulos, it becomes so much more easier because they're friends of mine to jump into that conversation. And we made the technology very simple. The feature we introduced for that is called Hangouts. If you scroll below, Jack, okay? So here's how it works. A very simple feature in Google+, and Jack can start a Hangout. So let's say it's Friday night, and he wants to kind of hang out with friends, but only with his football club friends. He's not interested in talking to anyone else. So he can invite his football club friends and say, hey, I'm starting a Hangout. And before that, it says, hey, check your hair, Jack. Make sure everything's fine, look pretty. Yes, because he's a cool guy, right? No longer a nerd. So, and then he starts a Hangout. So now what has happened is a signal has gone in Google+ to his football club friends saying, hey, Jack is willing to hang out, he's available. It's like he's standing in the garden sipping a cup of coffee. And somebody else may notice it. Oh, there's somebody, yeah, we heard a doo-doo sound. Eduardo, hey, Eduardo, how are you?
Hey.
Welcome,
Hola.
Somebody else jumped in. Who's that?
Hola, hola.
Eduardo, Arturo, ¿cómo están?
Bien, pero no podría sacar mi pelo.
Hay 250 personas viéndolos. Saluden. Hola, Jimena.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Bien. Por cierto, hoy es el cumpleaños de Eduardo.
Yeah, hold on one second. So you see what is happening?
Gracias, Jack.
Festejamos con más de acá.
One sec, just tell them. So the football club people are jumping in one by one because they know Jack is available and they see Jack hanging out with his other friends and they're like, hey, it's good fun. All they're doing is clicking on a button, right? Good. Somebody from California joined?
Not yet.
No, okay. It's all from the, okay. Good. So now when they're hanging out, they want to talk football. They want to share a football video. They might say, so Jack might say, hey, did you guys see this latest Chivas video where they scored this amazing goal, and his friends will be like, no, show it to us. And right within that experience, they can now watch a YouTube video together or a TV show together. See that? Is that great? You like it?
Yo tengo uno mejor, ¿eh?
Except there's one problem. Jimena has a problem with it. Jimena, you have a problem with that video? So Jimena's from Argentina, and she thinks another team plays better football. Is that true, Jimena? Well, show the video to us. So was that Barca? Yes. Okay.
This is the best team, Boca Juniors.
So this behavior, again, we watch what human beings do in real life. If you're sitting and watching, you grab the remote and say, no, let's change channel. And that's what Jimena just did. She grabbed the channel, she grabbed the remote and said, let me show you another match. And just like how friends do in real life. So we try to make this easy, seamless, fun.
Ese chico es lindo, pero me quedo con los mexicanos.
What did she say? Somebody translate for me.
He keeps with the Mexican ones.
Oh,
Igual y pueden jugar para ese equipo.
Fantastic. So you got the feel for this? So this is Hangout. We address the issue of how.
Gracias, chicos. Despídanse.
All right, thank you all. Fantastic. So I know many of you are from business organizations, and you say, this is good for friends to hang out, watch football, but how can business organizations use it as well? And we've been talking to a number of advertisers and regular organizations, and they're coming up with really interesting use cases that we want to consider. So when they launch a new product, they have product demos on Hangouts. People can come in and say, how does this washing machine work? Or how does this new car work? Or we were talking to a car company, and they said, when we introduce a new model, we can have our lead designer come and start a Hangout, and people who are big fans of that car, of the design, can actually come and ask questions, give feedback, said I tried this car, and here are some things changed. You can do customer support through it. You can do product introductions. So there are many, many ways by which companies are thinking of how do they use Hangouts in the setting. Coming back to a presentation, so the three things I already talked about is who you share with, what you share, and how you share, and Hangout was an example. The fourth thing is where you share information from. And before I talk about that, I'm going to ask you a favor. Jack wants to take a photograph. He wants to remember this experience and immortalize it. So Jack, come up in the front and take a picture, okay? All right, everybody wave. Got it? Okay. So give the photo to me. And Anna, can you just grab this phone? She's my magician's assistant, okay? Hold on to it and make sure that we do nothing with it, all right? That phone's, yeah, you can take it. You can go back to your seat. Just keep it with you. No, just keep the phone with you. Yeah, well, no, only till the end of this. Then give it back to Jack. She's like, really? No. No, keep it there. Yeah, okay? So we are not touching the phone. That's what I'm saying, okay? So this is how you do in real life, right? Life happens wherever you are. It happens in a session like this. It happens when you're in a playground. It happens in the school. It happens at a family wedding. And when life happens, you want to capture it. And the one electronic device everybody seems to have with you these days is what? Your phone, right? You keep it with you. It's so near and dear to us, we actually keep it close to our heart. And when we sleep, we keep it right next to us. That way, when something like this happens, you grab a picture. But what happens to those pictures? For the most part, at least in my case, they seem to remain on the phone. Because if you want to share it with your friends, it's a painful experience. You have to get a cable, download it to your phone, to a computer. You have to be near your computer. After you download it, you got to figure out which directory did it go into, and then search through it, and then make a note of the 5 or 6 pictures that you want to send to your parents or family. And they're hard to remember names, so actually write the names down on a piece of Post-it pad, that it is AK_1151.jpg. You have that experience? Yeah, so it's painful. So most of the time, the photographs just remain on the phone. And because I work at Google, every few months they have a new model, they upgrade it, I get another phone. So when I go home, I have a closet full of old phones with hundreds of my photographs that I've just not found it too difficult to share with people. So we asked the question, how can we make this easy for people so that when you take a video, when you take a photograph, we want to make it very easy to share it with your community, with your friends and family. So we introduced a feature called Photos. So right on top of Google Plus is Photos. And when you go to Photos, it says Photos from your phone. And when you click on that, okay, so are those pictures took? Yeah, right? You see those photographs? So there was no cable. Anna, did you do anything with the phone? She still got it. But like magic, that photo instantly appears in a private cloud that you can now share with. So these are the two photographs. So grab that photograph and he can share it right from there. So just hit share. Okay, the photograph of all of you that we took from here, and instantly it becomes shareable and he can send it to his fan football club. So send it saying excellent picture from the session. Share it. And go to your stream. And there it is, right? He's been able to capture it, no cards, nothing, instantly in the cloud. Does it work for you? Thank you. So that is the fourth aspect. Who you share with, what you share, where you share from, how you share, Hangouts, and where you share from, which is, the answer is wherever you are using your phone. Now, all of this is within your Google Plus social experience. Now, let me take you outside of that. Right in the beginning, I told you the goal of all this is not just to give you a great social experience, but to bring that with you wherever you are in Google. Okay? So we want to make your Google experience, your internet experience, so much more better. It has to be Google plus you. So let's go back to simple search and show how that works. So let's say I'm interested in the upcoming World Cup football, and we type World Cup soccer or something like that, and a set of search results come. And let's say the first one, the FIFA official site, is something, or the next one, the FIFA Women's World Cup. I want to share it with my sister and her friends. In the past, if I had to do it, I would have to cut and paste that link, put it in an email, and send it off to them, or post it on a social network or something. We made it slightly easier for you. Right next to that, there is this button called +1. And if you haven't used it, when you put that +1 symbol, when Jack clicks on it, what he's doing it is he is giving it the stamp of approval. He's saying, I endorse this site. I am +1ing it. I am one more person who says this is a great site. Now, when Jack's friends search for football or women's football, they will get this information in the search results that Jack actually has endorsed this particular site. And it's not just here in Google search that he can do. You could be doing it on or anywhere on the internet where the +1 button is available. So let's go to the newspaper you showed me, the Excelsior, right? So he's reading the Excelsior, and you look through an article, and at the bottom there is this article. Pick on one of the articles, and write it, go all the way down, and say, let's say Jack wants to share it, and there you see the +1 button. He can actually say, great, I like this article, and that's all he's doing. So you're leaving your footprint around the internet and search results, and only for your social network. So let's see how this works in real life. Let's go back to search Jack. So Jack is back in search, and he wants to search for, let's say, Chivas. He wants to look for something with a football club. Now look at the search result that showed up. So Jimena, who was in the Hangout, +1 this particular site. And that information is now made available to Jack, and all of a sudden, this link and this link becomes so much more important for him because somebody he trusts, one of his friends, has communicated through the +1 mechanism that they also like this site, they endorse it. And this way you can actually signal to your friends the site, the content you care about, the sites you care about. Is this fantastic? Yeah? Great, thank you. The next thing that I want to talk about is we actually make your internet experience or the Google Plus experience travel with you no matter what you're doing on Google Plus. And here's how it works. Right at the top, you see a black band. We call it the sandbar. Okay? There are some new things that have started appearing in the sandbar, and that is your Google Plus experience following you everywhere. So I'll give you an example. So let's say Jack is doing an image search, and he wants to look up something on Chicharita. So he got some great pictures of Chicharita, and he picked that one and said, you know, I want to, Chicharito, right? Sorry, Chicharito. Thank you for correcting me there. So he wants to share this picture, but only with his football club friends. So right from image search, he's not even inside of Google Plus, he can go to the little white box called share, and when he clicks on it, it gives him a share box. He posts the picture, and he says, I want to share it with my football club fans. Go ahead and share, Jack. So he shared the picture from within image search. Now when he goes back to Google Plus, you see, that thing has magically showed up in your stream for your friends, but only for his football fan friends. So that Google Plus experience followed you, the share box and the circle followed you all the way to the image search. Let me just do a quick time check. I see the red light going. How much time do I have? Do I wrap it up? Okay. All right. One last thing that I'll show you, okay? Let's go to Gmail. And this takes into account the fact that we started late, right? Okay. So Jack is looking at his email, and while he's looking at his email, you see that red button there? That shows him 9, which means 9 messages have come in for him on Google+. Now, he doesn't have the time to go into Google+. He just wants to quickly see what those messages are. He clicks on that, and a drop-down box comes, a notification button. He says there are all of these messages, and maybe he wants to quickly check on one of them. Which one do you want to look at, Jack?
Let me see.
Okay. Right. He picks one, and there, within that notification box itself, he's now able to look at a picture. If there's a video, he'd have been able to play video without leaving his email. And so we have integrated your Google+, your social experience, into other products also, and we'll be doing more of this. So given that time is out, I'm going to wrap this up, and again, come back to the basics that I started out with. You know, remember, this is still at a project stage. It's only introduced recently, and there's a lot more that we're going to do for you based on your feedback, and that's why we call it Google Plus Project, as in Google plus you. And the 4 pillars of what we've addressed in the demo that I showed you is, you know, who you share with, what you share, how you share, and where you share from. It becomes so much more easier. And we made sure that this social experience follows you everywhere across all of Google, so that your entire Google experience becomes so much more better. Now, all of this is mainly for consumers, for users. For business organizations, very soon we will have a set of features and functionality that we briefly announcing we will be introducing that will allow you to actually put out information on Google Plus so that you can communicate about your company, about your brand, about events that you're doing with the customers or the fans of your products who care deeply about your company and products. So that is coming as the next stage. With that, I just want to thank you for great participation and presence here. Thank you all. Gracias. Sorry, we ran a little bit out of time. Oh, they got it short?